Today we are going to start talking about factoring, and we're going to talk about factoring trinomials. And so we're going to start off a little easy, and then tomorrow we'll get into some more difficult ones. But factoring polynomials, okay? So this works when three things occur. The first thing, the degree is 2. Okay, when they talk about a degree, they're just talking about what is the highest power. Okay, and if you look at this generic example down here, x squared plus bx plus c, 2 is the highest power. Okay, and so that's what they mean by the degree. The second thing that we look for is the number of terms is 3. Okay, so it's a trinomial. So we have this first term, that's x squared. We have the second term, that's a number with x. That's what the b represents. And then we have c, which represents just a number. So it has 3 terms. And then the third thing that we're going to look for today is the coefficient of the squared term. Remember, coefficient is this number out in front, is 1. Okay, and notice where I just circled. Let's just change the color. They don't actually have the 1 written. Remember, they just assume that you know there's a 1 there. So these 3 things have to be in place before we can factor using the steps that we're about to give you. So we're going to factor using something called an X puzzle, which is why there's a big X right there to the right. Okay, it's called an X puzzle. Okay, and this will make more sense when we actually see a couple examples. But what you're going to do, okay, you're going to have a trinomial. Let's see. Trying to think of one. Okay, so it's going to look something like this, and it could have plus, it could have minuses, but we'll start basic. And so they're going to ask you to factor it. Now, factoring is just undoing the multiplication. What you're going to see is we're going to end up with 2 binomials that are going to be our final answer. So x squared plus 5x plus 6. We check the coefficient in front. Okay, there's nothing written there, so we know it's a 1. Our b would be 5, and our c is going to be 6. Okay. B is always the number in front of your x or your single variable, and c is always represented by just a number. And so you're going to use this X puzzle to figure out how to break this down. So let's look at our steps. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to draw parentheses and fill in the variable. And this will make more sense in just a second. So we're going to draw parentheses and fill in with whatever variable they're giving us. So draw parentheses, fill in variable. So I'm going to drop down under this list, and I'm going to use the one that I just wrote. And I don't have a lot of room here, so I'm going to have to write small. So x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay, we already checked. Degree is 2. It has 3 terms. And the number in front of the x squared is 1. So step 1 says draw parentheses, fill in the variable. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to draw 2 sets of parentheses. Your variable is x. So we're going to put an x here and an x here. And I'll show you why at the end. Okay, just put 1 in each set of your parentheses. So draw parentheses, fill in variable. All right, second step, you're going to actually use the X puzzle. So in your X puzzle, we'll put it in quotes so you know that we're going to use the X. Okay. Whatever number is represented for B, okay, which we said in our example is 5, is going to go in the bottom part of our X. And again, this is not going to make a lot of sense right now. Just hold on. So B is going to go in the bottom part of the X. And whatever number we have set as C C is going to go on the top of your X puzzle. Okay, so look back up here. There's my X puzzle. Excuse me. So we're going to put B, which we said is 5, down here. And we're going to put C, which we have said is 6, up here. Okay, so your C goes up here, your B goes down at the bottom. And if you want, you could put, this is always C, this one is always whatever number it is represented by B, which is in front of just your X or your single variable. Now, step 3 says you got to figure out what your signs are going to be, but technically you can skip this step. Meaning, technically, you got to figure out, is this going to be a plus and a plus, or is it going to be a minus and a minus, or is it going to be a combination, a plus and a minus? But the way we're going to show you guys how to use the X puzzle, you don't really need to worry about that. Okay, so that's why I put a little asterisk there. You don't necessarily need that. All right, so step 4, we need to solve our X puzzle. Okay, solve the X puzzle. So what do we mean by solve the X puzzle? To solve the X puzzle, you are going to have to figure something out using the 2 numbers that are in it. Okay, and that's why they call it a puzzle. But we're going to solve the X puzzle, and then we're going to put the answers, the numbers that we come up with, into your 2 parentheses that you already wrote. And I should probably put answers in the parentheses that we already wrote. Okay, we got 2. We already have our variable. So you're going to put them in there with the X, and I'll show you what that means in a second. So let's solve the X puzzle. What does solving the X puzzle mean? All right, so make a note to yourself. Up here where we put the 6, which represents our C, okay, you're going to look for factors of this number. So remember, factors mean what 2 numbers can I multiply together and come up with 6. Now, to solve the X puzzle, you're going to try to find 2 numbers that when you multiply them give you 6, but the same 2 numbers also add up to what number we have down here for B, which is 5. So to solve this X puzzle, we have to come up with 2 numbers that we can multiply together and get positive 6, and also add together and get positive 5. Now, some of you are really good at factors. Some of us struggle. So if you struggle, remember we showed you this before when we were doing stuff with factors, when we were doing radicals. If you're not good at factors, then you come to Desmos, you type in y equals, what number are we trying to factor, or figure out the 2 numbers that multiply to give us, and do 6 divided by x. Oops, that's not right. Let's try that again. 6 divided by x. Hit your settings, go to your table. Okay, now remember, Desmos only does 5 elements in your table. Okay, it gives you 5 x values with corresponding y values. So sometimes you may be able to find numbers that work in here. Sometimes we might have to add. But if we look, okay, so remember when you do this, it's giving you factors already. So you don't have to sit and figure out what 2 numbers can I multiply together and get 6. That's what this table does. So like, look, -2 for your x, -3 for your y, the other column. When you multiply, you get positive 6. These are already taken care of. Now, just like with our radicals, we don't want anything with decimals. We don't want anything with undefined. Okay, those are not options that we would consider. So we want 2 numbers that multiply to give us positive 6, but also add to give us positive 6. And even if you are like, I don't even know where to start, then you would just take the first 2. Okay, we already know they give us positive 6 because that's what the table has figured out for us. So then you would just drop down to the next box here and do -2 plus -3 and see if you get positive 5. Well, clearly you do not. Okay, then you may, okay, and some of you probably have figured out which 2 I want to use, but then try -1 plus -6. Nope. Okay, again, skip the undefined or decimals. So then you could try 1 plus 6. So hopefully you don't have to type that in, but that does not give us positive 5. But look, 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3 gives us positive 5. So that is the answer to my X puzzle. So you're going to pop back over here and you're going to say, okay, 2 times 3 gives me 6, and 2 plus 3 gives me 5. I have solved my X puzzle. Okay, so I've solved the X puzzle. Now I put the answers in the parentheses I already set up. So down here where I've already set up my parentheses with the X and the X, since it's positive 2, you're going to put a plus 2. If it was a negative 2, you'd put a minus 2. Since it's positive 3, you're going to put a plus 3. That is how you factor. Okay, so what you just figured out is they gave you, technically this is the final answer. Okay, we're working backwards. They want to know what binomial times what binomial will give me this trinomial, x squared plus 5x plus 6. So remember, like 2 weeks ago, we worked on multiplying those out. So remember, 2 weeks ago, we actually gave you this problem, and we told you guys to simplify it. And so remember, simplifying meant you distributed x times x, that's x squared. X times 3, that's 3x. Then you did it for the 2. 2 times x, 2x, 2 times 3, 6. And then you combine like terms. And if you remember, if you do this right, your middle terms are like terms. And so this becomes x squared plus 5x plus 6, which is what we started with today. So that's what factoring is. Okay, you're taking the trinomial, which is really just the final answer of a multiplication problem between two binomials, and you're working backwards. So your last step, and I think most of you probably know what I'm going to say because we've said it a gazillion times, you're going to check your answer in Desmos. Okay. Good old Desmos. We love Desmos. Okay. And you will know very quickly if you did this right. So how do we do that? Remember, when we're checking this kind of stuff with the polynomials and the trinomials, whether you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, you want to always use X so that it will graph. So you type in the original problem that they gave you. Okay, all of these should be U-shaped because these have a degree of 2. They're called quadratic, and they will make a U-shape. They'll make a parabola. Then, in the next box, type in your answer. Okay, and somebody did ask in class, hey, what if I put x plus 2, then x plus 3? And someone else said, well, what if I did it the other way? And I did x plus 3 and x plus 2. It's fine. It doesn't matter how you put your answers in, as long as you have the right signs with them. So look what happens. My original is in blue. My answer that I got is in green. They are the exact same graph, so I know I did it correctly. So that's the steps. Once you get good at this, it will come easier, but we got to practice. So let's flip it over on the back and see what we got. The key to this is use your X puzzle, use Desmos to find your solutions. Okay, so we got x squared minus 10x plus 24. Directions say factor each completely. All right, so I go, hey, look, has a power, the degree is 2, it has 3 pieces. There's a 1, even though it's not written, in front of x squared. So I'm going to solve this using my X puzzle. So I come over here, I'm going to do my X puzzle. Okay, step 1 says, write your 2 parentheses, Your variable is x, so you just put an x here and an x here. Now we got to set up our X puzzle and solve it. So factors of, remember, it's always your C, the number by itself. So factors of 24 that add up to, and here's where you got to be careful, that add up to, it's the number in front of your x. Okay, but don't lose the minus sign right here. Okay, otherwise it's not gonna work. So factors of 24 that add up to negative 10. Now, right now, you might want to write factors of, okay, add up to, just so you know exactly what you're looking for. Now, again, if you're super, super good with multiplication in your multiplication tables, then you can probably kind of work this out. It's a little more challenging with the -10 for sure. But if you're not, we don't care. Desmos is our friend. Y equals, we're looking for factors of 24, so divide it by x, go to your table. Oh, nope, I didn't want to copy. Let's try that again. Y equals 24 divided by x. There we go. All right, so again, it always gives you the same 5. It always gives you -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So you can start with those. Okay, and some of you are good at just basic math. You're looking for numbers that multiply to give you positive 24 and add up to -10. So again, if you don't know where to start with the first one. -2 plus -12. Okay, that gives me -14. That would be a no. -1 plus -24. -25, we're kind of going in the wrong direction. 0, remember we don't fool with undefined. 1 plus 24, you shouldn't have to type that in, positive 25. 2 plus 12 would give me positive 14. None of those are what I want. So remember, okay, Desmos doesn't give you every option possible. So what you want to do to extend your table is either click on this bottom 2 or 12. I always just click on the 2 and start hitting the blue button on Desmos, the enter, and it'll start adding some numbers for you. Okay, and don't get too carried away, but hit it a couple times. So let's look at 3 and 8. Okay, 3 plus 8, that would give me 11. Okay, but I need -10. Then I come to 4 and 6. Okay, and 4 plus 6 gives me 10. The problem is I don't want positive 10. If you go back and look at your X puzzle, you want -10. We're so close. We're just a sign away. So here's what you want to do. Okay, we're close. It's the number I want. It has the wrong sign. So what you want to do on your table is come back to your table, click on this box here, and just make one of the numbers that works to give you the positive 10. So it could be the 4 or the 6, and make it negative and see what happens. So I'm going to say -4, and look at that. When I type it in, Desmos figures out that -4 times -6 is going to give me the positive 24 that I'm looking for. Okay. Oh, not unless you do something like that. Okay, back up. Let's take that out. There we go. So I'm just going to verify when I add -4 and -6, I get -10. Yay, just solved my X puzzle. So I pop back over here. Okay, and again, you don't have to make different colors. I just like to. So -4 times -6 gives me a positive 24, and -4 plus -6 gives me the -10. I have solved my X puzzle. So now I'm going to drop over here. Okay, we're kind of skipping step 3 because using Desmos helps. We don't have to worry about signs. Desmos will give us the signs. So now I just drop these in. So X, put one of your answers. Okay, -4 instead of, don't put negative, just put -4 to represent -4. And then in your second parentheses, put your other answer, -6. Always check this in Desmos. Okay, do not go, I'm good, I'm not going to check it. Okay, because as soon as you hand it to us and we check it, we can tell if you checked it or not. Okay, because it's either right or you're not right at all. So that's the original. We got x minus 4 times x minus 6. The graphs hopefully will match. Here's my original in blue. There's my answer in green. They do match. I have factored correctly. Okay. Now, in the olden days, we didn't have Desmos, and we had to do all of this. We had to figure out the X puzzle all by ourselves, just by using factors and then adding them. And then to check it, we actually had to do all the multiplying. X times x times -6, -4 times x, -4 times -4. Simplify. Did I get what I started with? Yes, no. Okay. But we have eliminated a lot of the grunt work with Desmos. So that's awesome. All right, let's look at number 2. So again, okay, give you a hint. These are all going to be degree of 2. They're all going to be trinomials. They're all going to have 1 in front of the squared term. So you don't have to keep checking that. So step 1 says write my parentheses, parentheses, parentheses. Variable here is x, because you'll notice I'll start changing it. Okay. Now we set up our x puzzle. So we're looking for factors of 8 that add up to 6. Okay, factors of 8 that add up to 6. Okay, if you're not good, you're going to pop over to Desmos. Y equals 8 divided by x. Look at my table. Okay, so even if you're like, again, didn't know where to start, just go -2 plus -4 and see if it gives you what we said. We want +6. It does not. It gives us -6. So here's a shortcut. If the two numbers that you add give you the negative or the opposite sign that you want, try the two numbers that have the other sign. Ta-da! So 2 and 4 are my X puzzle answers. So 2 times 4 gives me +8. 2 plus 4 gives me +6. So remember, they're positive. That matters. Pay attention to that. Now we're going to write them in our parentheses. So +2, +4. And then you're going to bop over to Desmos and check it. Okay, take all the junk out that you have. So original, what I just figured out the answer to be. And again, if you put x plus 2, that's fine first, or you can put x plus 4. It makes no difference here. X plus, I'm just doing it backwards from what I wrote so you can see. So my original is purple. My answer I got is black. They overlap completely. I did it right. All right, so let's look at number 3. Again, first step, write your parentheses. Now they've changed from X to M. Okay, who cares? M and M. Create my X puzzle. Factors of, remember it's your C, it's the number by itself, but don't forget to look in front. It actually has a negative. Factors of -70 that add up to, again, look at the number in front of the variable by itself, -3. Now, this one, even if you're good with your multiplication tables, may not jump out at you right away. Okay, but we're not scared because we got Desmos. And if you could type it into Desmos correctly, it does help. There we go. Let's go to our table. Well, let me type that back in because I want the negative right in front of my 70. So let me do that again. Y equals -70 divided by, oh, it still kicked it down. Okay, it's not going to matter. All right, so again, it's only going to give you the first 5. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us -70. Cool, which the table already gives us. But they have to add up to -3. Okay, the two numbers, the same two numbers have to add up to -3. So again, if you don't know where to start, just start with the first 2. Okay, not even remotely close. Okay, try the next one. Yep, not even remotely close. Leave undefined or decimals alone. So let's try 1 plus -70. No, at least it's a negative though. 2 plus -35. Oh, -35. -33. Again, at least it's a negative, but we're looking for just -3. So that just tells you that you don't have enough factors on your table. So pop back up here, hit the 2, start hit it a couple times. Okay. So then just go to the next thing. We stopped at 2 and -35. So let's see what else we got. 3 in a decimal. We're not even going to bother with that. Decimals will never work. 4 in a decimal. Not even going to bother with that. Let's try 5 and -14. -9. Well, we're getting closer, but we don't want negative. 6, not going to fool with because it's a decimal. Let's try 7 and -10. Ta-da! There's my -3. So my X puzzle answers are -10 times +7 gives me -70. negative 10 plus 7 gives me negative 3. So it works. So I come over here. Now I'm just going to take my answers. Negative 10, I'm going to write as minus 10. Positive 7, I'm going to write as plus 7. And then you would jump over and check it in Desmos. Just make sure when you check it in Desmos, okay, use X, not M. So maybe make a note for yourself to check in Desmos. Because it won't graph if you don't use X. So just make a minor note to yourself. All right, and again, once you get the hang of this, they roll pretty quick. So parentheses, n, set up your X. Puzzle. So factors of, don't forget your negative, negative 3 that add up to, and here's where people got stuck on this one. What would they add up to? What number is in front of this variable, even though we don't write it? A 1, yeah. So factors of negative 3 that add up to positive 1. Okay. Again, just recommend that you use Desmos. Okay. It just saves you from having to sit and kind of guess and come up with it. So we want y equals, again, factors of negative 3. Negative 3 divided by x. Go to my table. Okay, remember, no decimals, no undefined. They're not useful to us. So let's try negative 1 and 3. Negative 1 plus 3. Positive 2. Is that what you want? Nope, you want positive 1. So we're close, right? We're close. Skip the 0 and undefined. Okay, you could try 1 plus negative 3. But hopefully you realize that's just going to reverse your sign. So we don't want negative 2. We're not going to deal with the 2 and the negative 1.5 because it's a decimal. So click on the 2. Let's add some to our table. Let's try 3 and negative 1. Oh, let's get that out of there. All right, 3 plus negative 1. Is positive 2. Okay. Still not giving me what I want. I'm not going to use 4, 5, 6, or 7 because of the decimal. Okay, because we're looking for factors of negative 3 that add up to positive 1. Now, if you keep going, let me just show you what's going to happen here. So let's click on the 7. Go, 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 go. What do you guys see happening? Well, dang, it's just a bunch of decimals, Miss Harrison. What am I going to do? All right, so what's going to happen, no matter how hard you try or how hard you look, you're never going to find two numbers that will multiply to give you negative 3. Because really, what your only two options, whole numbers, are 1 times negative 3 or negative 1 times 3, right? That's it. You can't go anywhere else with that. Okay, if you add these, you get negative 2. If you add these, you get positive 2. Okay, neither one is giving us this 1. So what do? Well, we cannot factor this particular trinomial, at least not right now. There actually is a way to factor it, okay, and it's called the quadratic formula, but we haven't gotten there yet. So right now with this method, you would just say can't be factored. But you're not going to have very many, if any, of those. Okay, but I wanted to show you it happening, okay, because it can happen. It's not going to happen a lot. Okay, so in other words, you shouldn't hand a paper in and half of them can't be factored. Okay. You shouldn't have any, maybe one. And we'll try to tell you if you do have one. All right, so that was kind of a bummer. No X puzzle to solve. So do one more, and then I'm going to I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try a couple of your choice. Just make sure you got the hang of it. And then once you do a couple of your choice, come back and watch the video, check your answers. But let's just do 5 together. All right, so write your parentheses. Variable is x. Set up your x puzzle. Factors of negative 18 that add up to positive 7. Again, my brain, I'm not going to make it go through all of that. Oop, nope. Just delete. There we go. So I'm just going to pop over here. Y equals, look, I already forgot what we're looking for. Negative 18. Okay. Negative 18 divided by x. Go to my table, start looking at some choices. All right, so I want negative 18, multiply to give me negative 18, and add to give me positive 7. So I'm going to look through Desmos. Okay. And again, if you don't know where even to start with the first thing that you see. Oh, no, not there. Come down on the next line. Start with the first two numbers you see. Oh, and look at that. It actually saved us. That's awesome. We didn't have to check a bunch. Negative 2 plus 9 gives me positive 7. That's what I was looking for. Whew, yay. So we solved our x puzzle. Negative 2 times positive 9 gives me negative 18. Negative 2 plus 9 gives me positive 7. Now all I got to do is transfer this over to my answer, minus 2 plus 9, and then I'd check it in Desmos. All right, so I want you to pause the video right here. Pick 2 or 3 of these that you see. Okay, work them out all by yourself, and then come back and press play and just check, because I'm going to kind of roll through these pretty quickly. Okay, so press pause, go do a couple by yourself, come back and check with me. All right, so set up my parentheses, set up my x puzzle, factors of 16 that add up to negative 10. Again, go to Desmos if you need it. Okay, be careful with this one. This is one of those that you may not get to it right away. So y equals 16 divided by x. Check your table. Okay, this is one of those, what you're going to find is if you start working through them, 2 plus 8 is going to get you the 10. The problem is you don't want 10, you want negative 10. So remember what I said when that happens. If you get the number that you want, but the sign is wrong, go back to your table, okay, click below in the empty spot, and just make one of these, this 2 or 8, make it negative. Okay, I'm going to do 8. Negative 8. Okay, it tells me that the other factor is negative 2. Check them real quick, but that 9 times out of 10 will give you the sign that you're looking for. Okay, so negative 8, negative 2. So you finished your x puzzle. Negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16. Negative 8 plus negative 2 is negative 10. So x minus 8, x minus 2, check it in Desmos. Okay. And again, your final answer is this whole thing. Okay. That is the factored answer. All right, number 7. Set up your parentheses. Set up your x puzzle, factors of 28 that add up to 11. Use Desmos if you need it. You should have come up with 7 and 4. They're both positive, so plus 7 plus 4. And again, you could write plus 4 plus 7. Doesn't matter. That's your final answer. Check it in Desmos. Number 8, set up my parentheses, because this step never changes. The letter might change, but that step doesn't. Set up your x puzzle, negative 27, factors of negative 27 that add up to negative 6. Again, okay, especially with negatives, they're not as clear. Sometimes you can figure it out if they're positives, but y equals negative 27 divided by x, table it. Okay, no decimals, no undefined. Okay, so not super helpful with the negative 1 and 27 because that's not going to get me close to what I'm looking for. So again, click on the 2, hit enter a couple times, get yourself some more factors to look at. So let's see, not going to do 2 because of the decimal. Let's try 3 and negative 9. So come down here, type in 3 plus negative 9. Look at that. Is that what I'm looking for? Yes, it is. So 3 and negative 9. Solve my x puzzle. 3 negative 9, because 3 times negative 9 is negative 27. 3 plus negative 9 is negative 6. Write them in. Positive 3 is a plus 3. Negative 9 is a minus 9. Check it in Desmos. Woohoo, we did it right. Last two. I know I'm talking fast, so if I'm going too fast, pause me, slow me down, rewind me. All right, set up your parentheses. Factors of, don't lose your negative, it's negative 48, that add up to positive 2. Oh, that's a terrible 2. 2. Okay, again, okay, weird numbers, so I'm going to Desmos. I mean, you certainly can figure it out in your head, knock yourself out, but I'm not. Y equals negative 48 divided by x, so I can look at the table, see what I got. All right, so I'm looking for, because sometimes you can save yourself some grief, I'm looking for a really small number when I add them together. So just eyeballing this, I can look and see negative 1 plus a positive 48 is not going to be anywhere near 2. Kind of the same thing with 2 and negative 24. Even if I add them together, not going to be anywhere near 2. So I'm going to hit this 2, get some more choices here. Okay. And again, if you're like, I have no idea even where to start, just pick one, no decimals. So like try 3 plus negative 16. No. Okay. And so just keep going that way. 6 plus negative 8. Oh, that's totally wrong. 6 plus negative 8, negative 2. Now, again, when you hit the number but it has the wrong sign, okay, when you hit the number but it has the wrong sign, then try another combination of those two numbers. Okay, so you have positive 6 and negative 8, so check and see. Okay, let's try negative 6. So on your table, type in negative 6. See what it kicks out. Oh, positive 8. So negative 6 plus positive 8. There is my 2 that I'm looking for. So the X puzzle, when we solve it, negative 6 times 8 is negative 48. Negative 6 plus 8 is positive 2. Now take what you solved, minus 6 plus 8. Check it in Desmos. Rock on. All right, last one. Now they switch to N. That's fine. Somebody asked in one of the classes, hey, can I just always use X? Yep, more power to you. Okay, if you want to do X squared minus 5X minus 6, that's fine, because that's what you're going to type into Desmos. So factors of, don't lose the minus, negative 6. That add up to, don't lose the minus, negative 5. Factors of negative 6 that add up to negative 5. Take everything out of Desmos. Don't have a big long running thing on Desmos. Delete that stuff out so you're not having to look through a bunch of stuff. All right, so factors of negative 6, okay, that add up to negative 5. So again, don't know where to start. Start with the first. Okay, of course, go in the next box. Don't stay up there. So negative 2 plus 3. Oh, positive 1. All right. Negative 1 plus 6. Positive 5. Do we want positive 5? No, we want negative 5. So remember what I said. If you have the number, if that's the number, but the sign is wrong, then try a different variation of this. Okay. And so like try positive 1. Now, if you look on your chart, you actually don't even have to type in positive 1 because they already have it. So let's try positive 1, negative 6. There's my negative 5. So positive 1, negative 6 work for my X puzzle. Positive 1 is a plus 1, negative 6 and minus 6. So if you guys have any questions with this, please let us know. We will be glad to help, and thank you for watching.